Buddies in Sunbreak are so much better than original Rise, it's not even funny. We have new secret support moves, which are absolutely ridiculous. The ability to change our basic support moves, which is a massive, massive improvement. And you can even change the actual skills that are on your buddy, which makes a huge difference to the RNG fest that it used to be. This means we can easily craft our own perfect buddy and reap the benefits without it taking a silly amount of time. So hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming. My name is Holo, and today I'm talking the new buddy system, how it works, and how you can get the most out of it. What are these main mechanics of this important system then? We have your Palico support moves in the form of secret support moves. These are those 5 crazy options that we can choose between, which can be really beneficial depending on a build and a playstyle that you're trying to go for. They're all awesome, but we have a full video dedicated to this aspect, how each works, which is best in what situation. So go check that out if you want to learn more specifically about just this feature. What we're talking about today is the advanced aspects of managing your buddy and making the strongest one. These are the basic support moves of your Palico: the healing bubbles, stamina boosts, great raw damage or status application, extra endemic life or raw attack power and even defense for a period, thunder blight, or even an extra trap, which are both wonderful. Then there's also skills, or your base stats of your buddy. This works for both Palicos and Palamutes, and are the passive effects that your buddy can have, like say status attack up here, which means we can apply our sleep status in this case even more effectively, which is really good. So your ideal buddy is someone that is making the most out of these concepts. Back in original Rise, you used to need to use the buddy scout system to try to find this perfect buddy. You'd scout a buddy by picking the certain parameters and type of the buddy you want, and then through hiring you would get this RNG list of potential good options. And you can see its equip moves on the right. So this is just what each one individually randomly was assigned. But now, as you can see, we can choose between these and change them without all of that annoying RNG. You'll still want to be picking and choosing certain buddies despite that, because as you can see, they come with their own skill memory and we can pick from that, as I'll explain shortly. So through the use of swap support move, we can change these to the ideal setup that we want, and through buddy skill lessons, we can even pick and choose stats to go towards our Palico or Palamute. Plus, we can also increase our buddy memory here with the increased skill memory option. As you can see at the top of the screen here, we normally have 5 slots for these passives, for these skills, but now we can increase it using Eureka Cons 3 times. So we can go from 5 slots to 8 in Sunbreak. But maybe you're thinking, this all sounds really good, there's a lot of potential here, but how do I unlock it all and how do I best make use of it? It's surprisingly straightforward thanks to our buddy agent here. Found on the docks of the new hub, Nagi the buddy agent is where we basically do all of our buddy plaza stuff and the new features all in one place. Firstly, let's talk about skill memory, which you'll find in the buddy dojo. We can increase our skill memory, as I just explained, by taking those original 5 boxes and giving them 3 more, giving us a total of 8 to work with now. As you can see, this one has none of them unlocked, so if we unlock one, we'll use a Eureka Corn, and now he goes from 5 to 6 potential slots. If we go to manage our buddy skills, you can see for Tim, who I've just done, we have this list of skills and I can equip them. This costs 2 slots, this costs 1, this costs 1, and this costs 2. Now I'm maxed out at 6 and they're all in use. You might be wondering where you get the Eureka Cons. Thankfully, it's quite straightforward. We get them by running Master Rank Mercenary quests. They're just a reward that you'll find when doing that sometimes. Various side quests, known as requests, have them as rewards as you're just playing through. And the Kohoot nests have a chance of actually dropping them, or rather you find and loot them when you open it. See, I got one right there. Now, as you can see, when I'm scouting a buddy, it is just assigned its skills, right? So this one has these options on the right. What we can do instead then is use the new buddy skill lesson option to change them. So take Tim here, he has all of these defensive options. I want him to have more offensive options. So what we can do is we can pick from this list of all of the different buddies that I currently have and which buddy has which skill. I can take piercing attack up here and take it from Rin and apply it to Tim, who can then equip it. Be warned though, I did just delete one of the skills that Tim had and that's now gone, so you don't want to just willy-nilly do this. You want to pick and choose the right ones for the right reason. To unlock this new feature then, the buddy skill lesson, we'll just need to complete the request, which is upgrade 3 buddies to a skill memory of 8. So using the increased skill memory feature, you can pick a buddy, you can use a Eureka Corn, and you can take it all the way up to 8, like I've just done, and that's one of them unlocked. Do that 3 times, and then we'll unlock that new feature, the buddy skill lesson. So when we're scouting a buddy, we can see in their buddy info what skills they actually have, right? So this guy has support centric, so that's always good to have. Let's grab that. This guy has both attack up large and critical up large. Those are both great. Let's grab that. Another knockout king there. We're definitely going to want that. So as you can see, this system lets you take those piles of RNG buddies that we're scouting and then just cherry pick the best skills to apply to our main buddies, the ones we're actually using in combat. And this is wonderful because it makes it a much better system to work with, and it means we can get our best option way quicker without it taking thousands of rerolls. Now let's talk about your support moves, which are very important. These are the active abilities that your Palico is going to use, like I've been showing. The case of the extra trap, the bubble heals, thunder blight effects, and all these other options that are so useful for different reasons. Obviously, we're able to control which our Palico actually has, instead of it just being pre-assigned them like before, which makes a major difference. This is using the new feature in the Buddy Dojo, the swap support move function. However, this unlock comes in stages. As you can see, I can only choose these middle 3. The reason for that is because the top and bottom one, these are tied to the type of Palico we have. So my terribly named Palico dog here is a Gatherer Palico, meaning it comes with Endemic Life Barrage and Pilfer. I can't change these. Take a different type here like Moonlight, that comes with Feline Wyvern Blast, and Giga Barrel Bombay. Those are just assigned to this type of Palico. However, it's these middle 3 that we can change at each level. We can change this first one at level 5, the second one at level 10, and this third one at level 15. So your Palico is going to at least need to be level 15, and you need to have unlocked the 3 levels of this changing. You get 3 requests to do this from the buddy agent here, and they're pretty straightforward. To unlock the first level, or level 5 technically, you're just going to need to get a Hermitaur Hardclaw and a Scimitar Hardclaw as well, just handing in one of each, and then you'll get the first one to change. Next, you'll need to get the level 10 unlocked, which requires a slaying of 8 Master Rank Rachnoids in Lava Caverns. That's really easy. And for the last one, at level 15, we just need to hand in 2 Rajang Wild Pelts, which is also straightforward. From here, you'll be able to change your support moves however you want, all 3, and pick the ones that are best for you, but I'm going to make some suggestions in a moment. Speaking of which, let's talk about our best options for a Palico and Palamute. For both of these guys, you're going to want to make sure you're using the correct weapon, and I have a suggestion for both on that. Via any of the buddy smithies you can find in the game, there's a few around, we can forge Palico and Palamute equipment. What we care about most is the weapon. There are many different types that can be beneficial for different reasoning, but it generally comes down to 2 statuses that are always recommended for good reason. Paralysis, which you can see here in the type Feline Jelly, or Sleep in the Feline Cataclysm option here. These are essentially your best 2 Palico options because these 2 statuses are so effective. Having the monster go to sleep means you can do a wake up hit for double damage or use barrel bombs, or paralysis means the monster will be staggered or held in place for a while like it's in a trap, giving you free damage windows. Both of these are incredible and generally better than running just a random weapon for a random reason. Both of these are considered the best options because they work on everything rather than certain things working best on certain monsters. Of course, I recommend the same thing for your Palamute, either paralysis or the sleep option. Ultimately, I like to run sleep on one of my buddies and paralysis on the other one. Now let's talk about Palico type, which is quite important. We believe you should be running Gatherer for your general gameplay, and especially in your first playthrough. You see, Gathering comes with Pilfer, which is that tied-in skill we talked about earlier. That will net you extra monster parts for crafting your weapons, your armor, melding talismans, or whatever, which is of course vital to a player even long term. This is always going to be extremely good to have. Pilfer is such a strong passive ability of the Gatherer Palicos. Not to mention that Endemic Life Barrage that we mentioned earlier as well. That's an incredible base move. It'll either sleep, paralyze, or even poison monsters for a hunt. Those are all super good. However, if you're looking to deal the most damage possible for a fastest kill possible, basically you're trying to speed run, then fight type makes perfect sense for that because it's going to do the most damage. But whatever you pick, let's talk about the support skills you should run. For slot 1, you have 3 good options. The healing bubble is going to place some bubbles down on the ground at times, which you can pop to just get a burst of healing. That's really good, and I would say generally that's going to be the best option for everyone all around because extra health can be life-saving. Then we have Go Fight Win, which is going to really reduce the stamina loss of the hunter for a period period. This is great for me as a dual blades player, but not great for people who don't really worry about the stamina so much. Lastly, we have Mega Boomerang, which is the best damage and also status application option. So if you're trying to get damage or you're trying to apply status, this is a great option too. For the second slot, it's a lot simpler. Summon Endemic Life is just incredible. It's going to place a pouch on the ground, and then it's going to summon a Wirebug, which you can pick up and get a third Wirebug slot mid-combat for a while. That's so important, especially in Sunbreak, where, my god, our silkbinder attacks are so good. Last but not least, for slot 3, you're going to be choosing between the Shock Prison and the Shock Tripper. Shock Tripper is the one that gives them Thunder Blight, and this means if you do a bit of damage to the enemy while it's got Thunder Blight, it will be KO'd. Meanwhile, the Shock Prison is literally just a shock trap, which you can use to capture monsters or hold them in place and get some extra damage, much like when they've been Thunder Blighted. The difference here is shock traps, or traps in general, don't work on all monsters, whereas Thunder Blight does, so I would always recommend the Thunder Blight option, as it's just more consistent throughout the variety of hunts. Now, it's still up for debate whether you should be running a Palamute and a Palico, or 2 Palicos, which was the case back in Rise. But if you choose to do 2 Palicos, your second Palico should have one of the 3 moves that we talked about before that you haven't already picked. So in this case, I picked Healing Bubble, so on my second one, I'll pick Mega Boomerang. For our second slot, it's definitely going to be Power Drum. That's going to raise our attack and defense, which is going to be wonderful. And then you can just pick Shock Tripper again if you picked it the first time, or Shock Prison again. Both work, it's fine. It just depends what you're against. I would generally pick one of each otherwise. For your buddy skills then, I would always suggest offensive options, such as attack up here, critical up, the all-important status attack up for certain should be a top tier pick because we're looking to try to proc paralysis and sleep. This works with that. Buddy Part Breaker is great. Knockout King can be useful. And finally, you should also consider support centric, which makes it easier for your buddy to trigger, say, its support moves or the Palamute gear, at the cost of attack and defense though. With Palicos in particular, those support moves like, say, triggering Thunderblight, they're so good, so I think it's worth it on a Palico, but I'm not convinced on a Palamute. Speaking of Palamute gear though, this one's nice and simple. I would recommend the dual bladed chain as the classic and standard. It's just the best DPS option. We do have the new Palamute silkbinder, which is fun. It'll hold a monster in place, which can be useful, but it's still up for debate whether it's going to put out quite as much DPS as the dual bladed chain. Then I recommend the heal blade scroll, which will just do a heal on the Palamute and also you if he's near you at the time that he uses it. So we can back out and choose behavior and choose our Palamute behavior, and then have him go to follow, which means he'll try to stay near me at all times, meaning I'll get the healing benefit of that scroll quite often, and it's really good. But yes, that's the best Palamute I would suggest to you. To keep it simple, dual bladed chain, heal blade scroll. But there you have it. That is my complete guide to buddies and how I would recommend you set them up and why. I hope this helps get you everything unlocked and now you kind of understand these systems. They can be a bit confusing when you look at them, especially when you're reading the tooltips, but hopefully this video helps you understand why they're so good. If it has helped you, please do drop a like on the video so we can keep making content like this in the future. But from me and the buddies here, thank you very much for watching. I've been Hollow, you've been you. We'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.